What is up, guys? It is Robert of Movies with Me, and welcome to the Aladdin movie review. Now, Aladdin is directed by Guy Ritchie, and it stars Will Smith, Mena Massoud, I don't know, Massoud, I think that's how you pronounce his last name, and Naomi Scott, and a lot more other people. Now, I wasn't looking forward to Aladdin. Not that I was like, oh my god, I think this is gonna suck. I wasn't thinking that either. It's just I've kind of come to this point where I've watched like basically all the other Disney live action remake films. Um, However, Lion King is the one that really first really hit me where I was like, okay, I don't think they should really be making these like this. Because a lot of the other ones, unless they're like completely different or if they're like not a straight up remake, maybe they're like a live action sequel or something, I'm okay with. But a straight up remake of the original film, I think is, I mean, obviously it's just a cash grab. You know what I mean? Because they could just watch the original animated movies or remaster them in 4K or whatever, and boom, you're good. You know what I mean? You can even re-release those same movies in theaters, and I still think they would make a ton of money. But Lion King was that first one where I was like, all right, this is weird because this is the literally like shot for shot the same movie. That's just bizarre. Why is that a thing? Um, and so it's hard to really go into a movie like that where it's like, okay, this is the same movie, just different. How do you rate it? How do you review it? And Aladdin is not that yet. I think we'll get into that more in Lion King, but I can understand why a lot of people will be thinking that way nowadays because I don't remember the original Aladdin. I'll be honest, the original animated movie I don't remember in the slightest. So I was not outraged when I saw the genie. I thought he looked weird, but in this movie, he's actually the best part. No spoilers in this movie, just to let you know. But let's talk about Aladdin. So this movie was, like I said, directed by Guy Ritchie, which I really love. His King Arthur movie. I thought it was great. I know a lot of people don't like it, or at least the critics don't. It seems like the audience quite liked it, but it was heavily bashed on, and I don't see why. I loved it. I thought it was very exciting, and I like the Charlie Hunnam's character of King Arthur. I thought it was really damn good. But this movie, CG, just like King Arthur, is impressive as hell. But that's kind of the furthest extent of the most impressive thing. The best character in this movie is definitely probably the genie. Will Smith takes the character and has a lot of fun. He has a ton of charisma in this movie as the genie. I thought he does a great job with him. But a lot of people around him aren't that great. Specifically, the big baddie of the movie, Jafar, I think his name is. I don't care for him. He seems like such a over the top, like cartoony character, and it doesn't really. I don't think it really fits in this movie, or at least he takes it very seriously when it's kind of very lighthearted, and and then he also does things that I think just don't make sense. Like he'll do this staff and he'll do something with his staff, but then the very next second that he could obviously do something with his staff, and I mean the literal next second, he doesn't do it, and it doesn't make sense. Basically, things that would make sense as a character, what he's doing, for some reason he doesn't do it, and it's just kind of to move the plot along and stuff like that, and I don't like that. But the big thing is honestly Jasmine and Aladdin. Naomi Scott is Jasmine, and Mena, I also call him Mena. Uh, they both do great jobs as Jasmine and Aladdin. They're great. And in fact, the performances are pretty much the highlight of the movie because the script that they're given just does not work. You know, I just saw the movie last week or whatever. The star is also a son. Ah, shit, I always say it wrong. The sun is also a star. That movie, my biggest complaint was the fact that maybe they didn't have enough chemistry because they want to fall in love in one day, and there's not enough to really build that relationship. It's actually, now imagine that times minus like an hour, and that's Aladdin. Within like 10 minutes, they're like in love with each other, Aladdin and Jasmine. I don't think that makes any sense. There's nothing that they get, no line of dialogue, no relationship building, no bonding that they get to really justify a whole goddamn relationship for them to be in love. And that's the biggest problem is I quite like when they would be together and they'd slowly build that connection, but that's way over time when they're already in love. And I feel like the whole movie honestly could have just been about Aladdin realizing that he doesn't need to be a prince or whatever to make Jasmine fall in love with him, you know? Because that's a big thing is Jasmine's not allowed to marry a prince. So obviously he has to go on a quest and stuff and you find a magic lamp and boom, the genie, you know? And I think the whole thing would have been great if that was just the story. Don't have the villain in there. I don't think the villain needs to be in it. And I know technically he's a part of the animated movie. I don't remember the animated movie, so I can't really say stuff about the animated movie, the original. But for this remake, I think honestly, if they just focused on Aladdin and Jasmine and just did that, it would have been so much better. And just build off of that. And the problem is there's also a lot of singing. A lot of musical scenes, of course, you kind of figure that, but they all just feel like separate from the story. And that's one of my biggest complaints about a lot of musicals, is that this one specifically also feels like they're just singing for a music video, and they're not singing for the story. They're not moving the plot along. It's just a music video. And there's one that's really good, which is the Genie one. I forget the name of that song, but everyone knows it. It's the main big song. But because so much time is taken up for singing in these music video like scenarios, they don't have the time to actually build up the relationship between Aladdin and Jasmine. And unfortunately, that makes the movie pretty okay. Nothing that great. It's still entertaining. That's what I will say. That's what I'll give it. Is that maybe the story and the relationship is kind of thin, but it's overall still pretty enjoyable. Like you could watch it and just look over all its issues and still have somewhat of fun, to be honest. Don't get me wrong. I think most people will come out not giving a fuck and they will just enjoy it. They'll be like singing all the songs and being all happy and shit. And oh God, Will Smith, he cracks me up. And there are some funny moments and there are good moments like that. But for the most part, it fails in terms of it building its relationship, which is honestly like the most important part of the movie. And it kind of fails because of all the music videos and the villain that is not that good. And yeah, overall, I'm going to give Aladdin a 5.5 out of 10. I thought it was all right. It's nothing bad, but it's just not good. It's just all right. There could have been so much more. And again, I can't compare this to the original because I don't really remember it. But for the most part, it's all right. I enjoy the characters. They're fun. They have energy. They obviously are enjoying what they're doing. The visuals are impressive. The genie's great. Will Smith, he does a great job. Aladdin does a great job. Naomi Scott does a great job as Jasmine. All that goodness. Villain I don't care for. And the problem is a lot of it has to do with the music and them rushing it so they could kind of just get to the meat of it, which is, I don't even know actually. The meat of it is like the villain, I guess, but really it shouldn't be the meat of it. It should be them, Jasmine and Aladdin, slowly building up a relationship. But instead it gets a lot of these kind of scenarios that are kind of, I feel like, big, get really thrown in really quickly. But yeah, guys, did you see Aladdin? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Let me know down in the comments below. And what a musical, right? Talk about music. You should check out my music in the description below. I think you'll like it. So yeah, guys, see you guys next time. Bye-bye. My head is clouded again, shrouded the thoughts of your fucking image, taking my brain, my heart, my bones. Even I'm alone, I feel like you were here, trying to distract myself cause I feel like a mess. Fuck him in bed, still not out of my head. How could it be so attached to me though you look you as a really good friend? I fucking hate this shit. Tear my feelings apart, go back to the basics.